Thank you. We're going to move right in, and then we're going to have a special presentation after our uh, presentation. But a lot of us know TJ. I'm not going to say a whole lot because I'm not sure what your thing is, what your presentation's about. But he's just a superstar. Got all kinds of awards, and we have a last couple of years and this year flags for heroes for him. He's one of those public servants that goes way beyond. Obviously, most of you know he's been very connected to our Connections program that we've sponsored, and we're so excited to have him here.
Yeah,
I'm going to turn it over to TJ.
well, again, Mark, thank you again. Obviously, I was invited by Chris Robinson, who's also a Rotarian with this club. And the opportunity to present before any Rotarian club is a great experience because one, I think that as a law enforcement officer, our missions align, right? When I say missions align, how does police department's mission align with the Rotarian's mission? And that's what I'm going to really talk about, and that's service above self, right? That is something that even before I even got engaged in any Rotarians, that was something that I truly believed in. I'm originally from California as well, or some like to call the wrong coast, but I'm from the Bay Area, born and raised in San Francisco, so I am a true dedicated Niners fan. Giants, not so much, but I still go to the games. I, at 17, joined the United States Marine Corps because I wanted to see the world. And I got as far as California. So I was stationed down in San Diego. Believe it or not, because California is so long, it literally takes 8 to 10 hours to get from Northern California to Southern California. So I was with the 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines out of the 1st Marine Division. I did get to see the world, got to travel overseas, got to experience the Philippines during the Marcos era phase. We were the NEO operational unit, and we were closing down Subic Bay. Came back, got to do some really cool training down in Coronado, got to become an amphibious reconnaissance Marine, thinking I would be hard charging, jumping out of airplanes. No, I got assigned to the pool to train Marines how to swim. So then we went overseas again. This time it was for the 50th World War II commemorative. And if you know anything about the Marine Corps, they love pomp and circumstances. So we went from island to island, kind of doing parades, and really got to see some really great islands. Got to go to the island of Iwo Jima, just a great experience. Tarawa, Tinian, island of Tinian, believe it or not, that's a very unique island in the Pacific. And then we went to Guam. Guam is just like any like Hawaii, if you ask me. But again, it was a really great experience. In 1994, I got an opportunity to come here to the East Coast. Wasn't my first choice because I thought I was high speed, low drag. I wanted to do security forces, but again, Marine Corps had different ideas for me, absolutely. And so came here to Quantico. When I got to the base, I was given a couple different options. None of them really fit what I wanted to do. I didn't want to train lieutenants out at TBS or OCS. And so that's how I really came about my law enforcement career. I was attached to a security battalion, military police unit, and that's how I kind of started my career in law enforcement. I've been involved in law enforcement since 1997. I started my career with Manassas City Police Department as a volunteer because the city had a great program. They allowed you to, if you volunteered with public safety, you didn't have to pay car tax. Yeah. And because I was a cheap Marine and didn't have a lot of money, anytime I could get free car tax, it was a win. Because one, I didn't understand why Virginians were charged a car tax, but here nor there. But that being the case, made Manassas my home. I've been with the Manassas City Police Department since 1998. This past October starts my this past September started my 28th year with the Manassas City Police Department. And I've held many different positions. One of the positions that I'm going to speak to you about today is about community service, right? Policing is a very unique profession. We are, for some aspects, sometimes the greatest and sometimes the worst in the community. And I will share with you that I get the opportunity to be part of the greatest part, and that is being that face for our community. And so today I'm going to talk about our approaches in the city of Manassas with regards to community policing. Community policing can mean many things to many people, but the way I look at it is it's just a service above self. It's being that guardian in the community that is there for the community. So as Mark indicated, I had an opportunity to work with the COPS office, the Community-Oriented Policing Services, where the U.S. Department of Justice did recognize us for one of our programs that I had the ability to create. So this is just a short video of why Manassas is great. Manassas is one of those cities that are just outside the Washington, D.C. area that can be considered suburbia, but it has a lot of history. With kind of a modern twist to it. So 10 square miles, just a little bit over 42,000 people in the city. A lot of great social events. It's very much an event city. So we're real excited to host a lot of events. But that's what the city really is, just a great opportunity for families to feel the historic aspects of it, but also with a modern feel. Well, in fact, I live in the city. I live in the Wellington community. My wife and I purchased our home back in 1999. And so, yeah, I'm a strong supporter of working and serving in the community in which I live. And, I always reference the fact that the 9 principles. I think that's key. We the police are policed by the people, and I think it's important for us to understand that we can't police without the community. And so being as stakeholders in any of the conversations when it comes to programming. So my advice to any entity that is looking to build this out is to look for those stakeholders and those partners that are outside of the norm. Look for public health, look for public schools, look for nonprofits, look for your social services department. So those that tend to also have their pulse on the concerns that you also have as it relates to safety, healthy communities, you're going to find that you can do more. I'm a strong believer that as a team you can achieve more, and working together you can accomplish a lot more and have greater impact. So it's very important to think outside the box in creating programs like this and looking at it from a different strategic way. From a law enforcement, sometimes we get boxed in whether or not the law, right? But when you look at it from a public health perspective, I think when you look at it in that way, you are addressing in a unique way that if you have a healthy community, you have a safe community. So again, as I highlighted there, I'm speaking about a specific program called the Parent E3 series, and I'll highlight that here in the presentation. But it really tends to speak to the importance of collaboration. And in law enforcement, sometimes we get siloed, right? And we get siloed in we have to enforce the law. But again, there's also that component piece that I think is also key is the prevention piece, right? As you heard me speak to public safety and public health, if it's aligned in a way that will contribute to the overall safety of the community, it's a win for the community, right? Not that we want to replace police officers in the community because they do play a vital role in the enforcement piece, but we also play a role in the prevention piece. And when I say prevention, and we look at strategies, some of the core elements of our community outreach programs is obviously first community, right? As you heard me talk about the Sir Robert Peel principles, he has 9 principles. If you don't have a community that supports your law enforcement, you're not going to have a community. And so it's important that you want, as when we focus on our community policing, we want to strengthen our ties and our partnerships with our residents and foster that mutual trust so that we have cooperation. And that comes in many forms in different ways. If you have a public safety or a law enforcement component in a community that is trusted by the public, it's a win-win, especially when you have other tragic things that happen in the community. You want to have the importance of some of the programs that I'm talking about is you got to have a parent component piece when you're identifying programs. And again, parent is different nowadays too. It could be grandparents. It could be aunt, uncle. Caregiver is a different term than just your normal nexus of parent, mom, dad. So again, equipping parents with tools and resources to support positive youth development. And so I'm really big in youth development. I think, as we get to say, the youth of our future generation, and I think that's important. The other thing is, speaking of the youth, they have to have a seat at the table as well. And so, a lot of times, and I'm sure all of you have raised children, You can tell your child how to do things, but if they hear it from another child, they'll listen. I don't know what it is, but they listen. But again, they also want to have a voice in how programs are developed. So again, engaging youth through targeted programs to guide them to constructive life choices. Because unfortunately, we do have children that make very bad choices. And sometimes they don't realize or understand the impact of what that'll have for the rest of their lives. And so some of these programs is hopefully to impact that. And then partnerships, right? Collaborating with community organizations, schools, and other agencies. I can't tell you, I'm going to talk about a particular program that when I started that program way back when, I partnered with our social services and I partnered with our Manassas Rotary Club, where the president of that club made a contribution to our program. So again, when we talk about the goals of community policing, as I heard me talk about that guardian mindset, right? Again, I like to call it about 3 primary objectives, right? And that is engage, right? We talk about educate, and we talk about empowering. Because again, when we talk about engaging is different for all folks, right? With technology nowadays, we're able to Zoom this meeting, right? So engagement is different. So engaging is being proactively connected and create meaningful relationships. Key is relationships. I can't stress that enough. Educate. There are so many things going on in our world that parents are not equipped to deal with, right? We look at current situations with social media. Social media is a challenge for our parents. They don't know about it. You give a kid a phone at some of the reports say as early as 9 or 10 years old, you're basically giving that child a computer in their pocket and you're opening them to the whole World Wide Web, right? And so again, and there are a lot of dangers out there, right? We heard here recently with some of the tragic events that have happened, you've heard the word Discord. Does anyone know what Discord is? All right. Everyone thinks, oh, it's just a gaming site. No, it's more than just a gaming site. It is an online platform for everybody, from your gamers all the way to your pedophiles. Talk about empowering. When we provide parents and caregivers the opportunity to have that resilience, right? We want them to be self-sufficient, right? We want them to be able to thrive. And that's one of the things that really, when I met Chris at a coffee shop and he wanted to talk to me about this particular grant idea that he and his Rotarian Club had, I didn't need one more project, but he made a good pitch and I was in, all right? Because I really wanted an RV because my wife doesn't want me to have an RV. All right. I keep trying to show her these van life YouTube videos. I said, wouldn't this be great to retire and just go and sit in a Walmart? She's like, what are you talking about? I mean, because all you see them is in national parks. But when I told my wife, well, some nights we might stay in a Walmart, she's like, not happening. Not happening. But again, we want communities to thrive. We want them to be resilient. So again, this particular program is our signature award-winning program. It's called the Parent E3 series. And so again, we looked at this in a way that we wanted to address some particular issues that were facing our youth and parents didn't have the answers. And so again, it shows that when you partner with outside your silos, the schools, right? And that can be challenging. Schools are a very hard building to get into. But because I served as a school resource officer, I already had built those relationships. When I positioned my relationship with the school and say, hey, I want to bring this program and target parents, and these are the topics, it really opened the door, right? And so again, these are some of the topics that we talked about. And again, it wasn't just the police up there giving the presentations, it was the subject matter experts in these fields. So for example, substance abuse, we brought in the public health people who talked about it. Internet safety and cyberbullying, we brought in folks from the Center of Missing and Exploited Children to talk about it. Truancy was a big issue after COVID. And so we brought in folks to talk about that. And then one of those things that I know that you guys have done an amazing job with some of your programs is that mental health piece, right? And so again, these were key principled conversations that we had with community in a very community-like form. So you had a presentation and then we would line the room with community resources. So not only did the parents get information about the topic, but they also can be connected that same night with resources. And the other thing is food is a driver. As I sit here and look at my food, right? Food is the driver. So we also, yeah, absolutely. Food is that motivator, right? I know for for me in the military, anytime you can get your Marines together around a good meal is a good time. All right. And I know that it's not just an MRE. MRE can make a good MRE too. But I remember when I was in the Philippines, when we came onto an island one time, our company Gunny met with the village, head of the village there. And what he wanted was some MREs. And what we got in return was a whole feast. So food is that connecting piece. Okay. And so we provide dinner for their families. And the other uniqueness about this particular program is we also provide simultaneous Spanish translation. So a lot of times in programs, because of this area in the Northern Virginia, we have a high population of Hispanics living in our communities. And in the city of Manassas, it's about 43% of our city population are represent or Latino. And then in our schools, they identify about almost 70% of the students are Hispanic. So when you think about that and you want to build community, you can always do a presentation in English and you can always do a presentation in Spanish. But I have done both. And what happens is you get two different presentations. So we brought them together. And so we do it in translation simultaneous. So those that need that Spanish translation, we give them headsets and we have someone who interprets the presentation. And so that way you build community. And if someone has a question, that family is hearing it at the same time as everybody else, and vice versa. So these are some of the flyers that we did. As you can see, these are some of the topics. I heard and I saw that you guys were talking about human slavery or human trafficking, right? We did a topic on human trafficking awareness, right? And I know at the district level here coming up in the conference, this is going to be a very important topic. But these are some of the conversations that we had: gang issues, right? Attendance, youth violence, right? Youth violence. If you watch the news, hopefully not too much of the news, but if you watch the news, there's a lot of young people doing violent crimes. But again, as you can see, we always have the piece of mental health because mental health is important. So I'm not going to show this video, but again, it just goes on to talk about the importance of building partnerships and thinking outside the box. And so again, this is kind of a picture here is kind of what our presentation looks like. It's a kind of a community forum. Again, talked about the different types of topics. But again, we were identified and recognized by the Virginia Municipal League. Anytime you can get your elected body officials to know that you're being represented at the VML, they love that because they can hang their hat on that as well. We received the Public Safety Innovation Award in 2023. And then anytime on a national level, you can be recognized by the U.S. Department of Justice Attorney General for a distinguished service in community policing. That's always a good thing to hang your hat on as well. So again, as most times when I give presentations to Rotary clubs, or in the past, especially in the Manassas Club, is, well, what's the ROI? What's the return on investment, right? And again, because most of the people are business folks, they want to know, if I put X dollars in, what's the return, right? And so again, this particular program was created to enhance we wanted to reduce juvenile-related crimes. And so as you can see here in 2021, we had a decrease, and then again, it kind of fluctuated. Anytime you're dealing with juveniles, I think the key thing here is though it fluctuates, is that juveniles are unpredictable, right? And the important thing when working with juveniles and their families is building relationships. So how do you build those relationships with the juveniles? So I had created a program back a long time ago when I first started in my role as a school resource officer called the Teen Quest Group Greater Manassas Youth Project. And this was a program called Learning Through Experiences. And so again, I'm going to kind of identify here that this program is to really not just target the bad kids, but target those kids that are kind of on the bubble, right? What we call them at risk or vulnerable. Now, I'll tell you, it doesn't matter what your social economic background is. Every child, whether you come from a gated community or a non-gated community, is at risk, right? Especially in today's world, right? I mean, a kid can go online and see things that they shouldn't be seeing, right? I mean, you all saw it. I mean, my daughter saw it. She's 23. I saw it. Of course, I have a different take to it, but we all saw what happened with Charlie Kirk, right? That video. I mean, you can't erase that from your memory. And then you see the aftermath. Kids are numb to it. I mean, they didn't even. Some kids responded differently. Some didn't even respond at all. So again, it's important that we understand that all kids are vulnerable. So again, The other thing about this, you heard me talk about is the importance of having that collaborative, multidisciplinary team approach. And so it included all these partners. And I can tell you, it's like herding cats, right? Herding cats. So again, how's it funded? We're funded through a Virginia Juvenile Crime Control Act through our social services department. And so again, the key components here is community-driven, community-based, and community partners. As you can see, collaboration is key. And so what did our programming look like for the Team Quest? These were some of the things. We partnered with a local business that had a Krav Maga shop. We went to Top Golf, right? Some of these kids never even picked up a golf club before. We went to, anytime you could, again, food and barbecue is good. As a little biased, but anytime you can take them to a Marine Corps museum, which is locally placed in Quantico, is a win. Community service project. Obviously, community service is the heart of Rotarians. So again, we do a lot of great community service projects. This was fun. This was kind of like a trampoline park. It was a unique way. I think you guys have one now here in Gainesville. If you've not taken your grandkids or your children there, it's a pretty cool experience. They have all kinds of different activities. Washington, D.C., though it's 35 miles away and sometimes takes 2 hours to get there, it's a really great experience when you can take kids to different things within the D.C. and actually do different events. I mean, imagine taking a group of 13 to 17-year-olds to the steps of the Abraham Lincoln Memorial and actually talk about Abraham Lincoln's failures and how he rose up in leadership and how he, did different things to get where he was. And so it's just phenomenal that you can do that. And then, of course, anytime you can take a kid to King's Dominion Amusement Park is a win. So again, this is a kind of a short video of partnering with a business. Gotta love Canva, by the way. Yeah. Canva is awesome. So as you can see, all the kids are engaged. They're not on their cell phones. All right. So here's the Top Golf one for all you golfers in the room. And add a little humor. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. And again, food is always the winning aspect. Of course, the Marine Corps. And every time I see those yellow footprints, I get kind of a little PTSD, so I apologize. And then this was a really cool experience. This was kind of a unique area, not in the best area in DC, but it was a fun experience. And then I was on the other side, so it was even much more experiencing for me to watch this happen. So Beat the Bomb is kind of like an interactive, kind of like escape room, but it was a little bit more interactive, very creative. And they would go to different rooms and compete in teams. So it built team building exercises, and then they all got splattered with paint. So like I said, pretty entertaining. So again, I know I kind of sped through that pretty quickly, but just to kind of give you an overall view of some of the programs that we do in the city of Manassas to engage our community in a very, I like to say, unique, innovative way to build community. As you heard me say in the one video, I live in the community. I raised my family in the community. My daughter went to the schools. So when you have that understanding of what the community needs are, you can build really great programs like this. And so with that, if anyone has any questions, I'm more than welcome to answer any. Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I always see like, Prince William, you just see police officers like with their cars and living in other counties.
Mhm.
So what is the percentage, do you know, that can get to live?
So, there's this whole thing about affordable housing,
Yeah, I'm
right?
kidding.
Right.
Why?
Yeah. So I
Managed to do what you did.
So I was very fortunate when I bought my house in 1999. I took advantage of a HUD program. It's called the Officer Next Door program. I would probably not be able to afford my house today, even though the city pays me pretty well. But of course, that's after 28 years too.
Yeah.
But
Right?
so we are looking at things to challenge that. The city is looking for workforce development housing opportunities, but again, that comes at a cost to the taxpayer, which people don't seem to understand.
Right.
And
People in the communities.
yeah, and so I will tell you, for us, though we're a very smaller agency, we have a good amount of officers that actually do live in the city. And so I know that our chief, Chief Keen, is really working hard. The city also likes to buy property. I'm not sure where you feel about that, but our city had purchased some property on the Mathis area corridor, and there was a house at the old Scotty's gas station area. Used to belong to the Rices. Those who might know, I know Mr. Grazika probably knows. But we're looking to pilot a program where having that house available, because it's owned by the EDA, to potentially turn it into a workforce development pilot program house. But again, yeah, you're right. And some of our officers, believe it or not, they travel as far as an hour to an hour and a half because of housing. They live in Culpeper, they live in Warrenton, they live even farther. Just because housing prices are expensive. But again, it's just one of those things. I can't give you a specific percentage. Obviously, with Prince William County, they're a larger jurisdiction, so I'm sure they have more officers that live probably. Again, we're a smaller agency. They're close to like 600 officers. We're just over 100. So yeah. Does anyone else have any additional questions?
You guys, police officers are company.
Yeah, absolutely. Nope, we don't. So, because again, we want the kids and the youth to look at us as just regular human beings. There was a general one time that I met, and he sat me down and he says, "What's different between you and I?" I was like, "Well, first of all, sir, you're a general. I'm a sergeant." He goes, "No. How do you put your pants on in the morning?" And I was very perplexed by his question. I was like, "This is not looking good. Why is this man asking me how I put my pants on in the morning?" And he said, "I put my pants on the same way you do, one leg at a time. I'm no special than you are." And so what we try to show these kids is that I'm no different than they are. Right? I try to tell them my life story. I was raised by a single mom. During her divorce, we were living out of our car, couch surfing, so I was homeless. And so trying to tell these kids and show these kids that we're just as human as they are, and have, make our mistakes. I mean, trust me, I made my fair share of mistakes as a kid.
Sorry, you ever, any kids interested because of this experience, like doing some kind of youth-based ride along, or where they're kind of on a path to potentially come up?
Yeah, so again, I mean, I could spend hours talking about all the programs that I do. One other program that I do work is in our career technical education with our local high school, CTE. CTE is, in my opinion, vocational education is the future, I think, for our educational system. Some areas are getting it right, some are still lagging. But I had the opportunity to be I sit on the board for the CTE board, but I also am an advisor and mentor for a program called Skills USA. Does anyone know what Skills USA is? How about DECA or VICA? Does anyone remember those? Yeah, so those are Skills USA is kind of the new branded DECA and VICA, where it's all vocational. And so I have an opportunity to work with kids that are in the criminal justice program at Osborne High School. And in fact, we compete at the Skills USA competitions at the state level. And I've been very fortunate since 2019. I have taken 3 kids to state championships and then taken kids to national championships to where they've been recognized. So again, to answer your question, I think you answered the question. I'm sorry. To answer the question is we do try to get the kids engaged. That's one of the things is that the chief says that if we can build within, we create that ownership within and get them to want to come back, which we have actually a good percentage of officers that have left our community to go off to college and have come back and come to work with us. It's a win. It's a win.
Not so much a question, TJ, but a statement.
Yes, sir.
First of all, great on you for the things that you're doing, because the opportunity is something you just stated about jumping in or how you put your pants on, right? We all are the same, but oftentimes the difference is the experiences that we have.
Sure.
And being able to show these kids that, hey, you can do it just like I did it, and providing these opportunities for them to have these different experiences. I serve as on the board of directors for Feel Good Mentors, and just having that opportunity to show these kids, and it doesn't take a whole lot of money, it doesn't actually take a whole lot of time, but to provide these different experiences for them to get them out of their norm is there's not a price you can put on it. So
yeah.
Great job.
So yeah, and I will share with you that one of the challenging things is for me is I always like to see results. I'm a quantitative, I want to see results, right? And the hard part that I have found over the years of doing this is you're not going to see the results until you actually see them when they're in their later adulthood. I've worked a lot of community events in the city, and I've had people come up and they're like in their 30s now, which I'm like, wow, I'm really old. I need to find that second chapter. They're like, oh, here's my family, Officer Rodriguez. I was really one of those kids that, I was a knuckle dragger and I did some stupid things but you always were there to listen. And again, I go back to building relationships. It's having that guardian mindset as a law enforcement officer. I mean, don't get me wrong. We need our warriors in policing. And I've been on the end when, I've been in tragic situations where you have to think tactically to make quick decisions that could end someone's life. And that's a warrior mindset. But really, honestly, in our line of work, generally, especially in the city of Manassas, in my 28 years, it's a small percentage into the other work that we do, where 90% of it is dealing with that guardian mindset perspective, where you go to that house where the family's just a wreck and the mom's just beside herself, and you're like, I just don't know what to do anymore with this kid. He won't listen. It's like, all right, let me take him out for what I call it lunch with a cop. Chick-fil-A is great because they give us discounts, so it doesn't cost me as much. But again, it's just an opportunity to say, hey, why are you giving your mom such a hard time? And they get to see me differently too, because we're having those real conversations. And again, providing the resources. So again, that guardian mindset is so key.
Thank you so much. Don has a special presentation.
All right.
Well, TJ, we first met at Georgetown South.
Yes,
one of
sir.
The planning committee meeting.
You were asleep, if I
Connections.
recall correctly. You fell asleep, but I think it was nap time. I don't know. I'm messing with you, Don. Go ahead, sir.
Do you want the award or not? So, in any event, we've worked with TJ and Chris Robinson a lot in the last 3 years. And every time something comes up, I hear Chris say, TJ said this, TJ did that, and so forth and so on. So I'm here to give you what's known as a Paul Harris Fellow certificate. Paul Harris was the founder of Rotary back in 1902, 1905, in that time frame, a long time ago.
In Chicago.
In Chicago.
Yeah.
And Arch Klump was one of the original Rotarians, decided to create the Rotary Foundation and name it after Paul Harris. So, Mark, how many was it? It's a 50,000 you put in to get your Arch Klump. That's it.
250.
250,000. Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome.
So Rotarians donate on a regular basis. If you give $1,000, you get a pin and a certificate. But when we donate, we also accumulate points, and we can use those points any way we want to recognize other people. And in this case, we're recognizing you as a community leader in Manassas. an integral part of the connection program as well. So I have this certificate suitable for framing with your name on it.
I will, very, very honored. Thank you.
But we also have this Paul Harris pin,
Oh, thank you so much.
which you could wear with honor, knowing that this organization that started literally from 5 people rotating lunches every week in Chicago has grown into the organization that it is today with outreach all over the world. So, thank you, TJ.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Sit down and eat. Oh.
Picture first, and then you.
Oh, Thank you, Don. Yeah, let's do that real quick. Let's do the drawing. Let him sit. He can pick from there. He's got to eat.
So I had a here, Rotary Foundation for the club. Now I'm starting with an arm, because again, I have finding capability. So, TJ, you have tickets also.
Yeah, you gave me tickets.